there was a clown that went around saying, the money's fake, the money's fake. So everyone started parroting what he was saying. Yet, the same guy who was saying the money was fake goes and gets a witness that says, I saw him lose $36,000 inside of a casino. And you don't pass counterfeit money in the casino, you understand? Go to jail real quick. It's the one place you don't take counterfeit money. You might as well take it to your fucking bank. You're gonna take it to the casino. So fucking stupid. Okay, next. They're like, where does he come up with his money? Bro, this guy gets 9,000 views a day. It's real. He gets 100 subscribers a day. He's got 250,000 views per month. Thousands and thousands of people are watching Christopher Mitchell. And he only needs a few of the suckers to click the link, you know? Let's say you got 25,000 people. 10% of them want to click that link. That's 2,500 people. You understand? That's a lot of people. I'm not saying it's that high, but, you know, and they gets 35 cents on the dollar that they lose at the casino. He gets a kickback. It's a lot of people. Even if, let's say it's 1,000 people. Is it anything that they would lose $200 a month? I mean, is that so outrageous? And now $200 a month times 1,000 people is $200,000. And you get 35% of that. Well, you just made 70 grand. You understand? That's how it works. So his scam is successful. Now, I don't know how much he's earning per month. I don't really care. But I know the guy's crazy, bro. The guy's crazy. There's 37 numbers on the roulette wheel. The true odds of any number coming up is 36 to 1. The casino pays you 35 to 1. You must lose. If they paid you 36 to 1, you break even. If they pay you 37 to 1, you make money. But they're paying you 35 to 1. See, math is real simple. That's your 2.7% disadvantage. He's going to teach you how to gamble? He doesn't even know how to gamble. Are you joking? No professional roulette players. What the fuck is he talking about, bro? So, it reminds me of Scarne. And I want to disparage Scarne a little bit because I don't appreciate what he did either. The very first book I ever read on gambling was Scarne on Cards. I was 12 years old. There's a lot of good information in there, don't get me wrong, but you got to weed out the good from the bad. So he mentioned edge sorting. This book is copyrighted in 1949. He's talking about edge sorting. You know, maybe if the management over at Borgata had read this, they could have saved some money, you know. So anyway, but Scarne was notorious for writing lies, just like Christopher Mitchell, you know, backtracks. He says a lie, then leaves the video up, and then contradicts it in the next video. And he wants to give you money, you know. He wants you to give him money, rather, or click his link. I think that's how it's generating the money right now. And so Scarne, some of the things he said was, in 1962, when Ed Thorpe wrote Beat the Dealer and discussed the blackjack was a game that could be beat, if you track the tens, Scarne said, no, it does not work. It'll lower the house edge, but it won't defeat it. You'll still be playing at a disadvantage, the house will still win. Well, as the years went on, he was proven wrong, but he never corrects himself. Instead, he issued challenges, like a $100,000 blackjack freeze out to Thorpe, and he wanted to be the dealer. So, of course, Scarne being the best card manipulator in the world at the time, Thorpe didn't take that challenge. But he knew it was a fake challenge. But you know who did take him up on the offer? Lawrence Revere. Lawrence Revere was street smart. He started dealing blackjack in barber shops for organized crime figures when he was 12 years old. And if he saw, the way he was instructed, they were dealing one deck blackjack, of course. And the way he was instructed was, you know, if aces come out, then you keep dealing, right? Because aces are coming out, if they're not in the deck, that's bad for the player because they can't make blackjack and get paid 3 to 2. But he said if you deal around and you don't see an ace, you know, shuffle up on them. Those were instructions. So he's a little bit street smart, gets in the casino industry as a pit boss, starts selling blackjack systems, played both sides of the table. He was kind of a scumbag, actually. So his book was $10, playing blackjack as a business. And what he'd do is he'd advertise his course that he'd give you a private lesson for $200, teach you an advanced point count, and he would make sure you failed. So he would remove some of the cards and have you count down a multi-deck shoe, and of course you're going to get the wrong total at the end because cards are missing. And then he'd talk you into taking another lesson because you need more practice. Then once you actually go out in the casino, then he would point you out to casino management. This guy's a counter, and get you barred and get payoffs. You understand? Scumbag. So when Scarne challenged him, Revere was like, sure. Revere could spot any card mechanics that Scarne wanted to pull, you know. So Scarne backed down from the challenge. Now, here's my problem with Scarne. You might think he's not relevant. He's relevant. This guy, his books are still in the library. His books are still sold online. His books are still in movies. He was in the movie The Croupier, his book. He's being used to settle court cases. They used Scarne as an expert witness from the grave, one of his books, to decide a court case. The court took him as an expert witness, basically. And a lot of money was on the line in this judgment, trust me. So, that's why I want you to know that this information is wrong, because there's always been these guys selling systems. There's always been these guys with the wrong gambling information. Scarne was marketed as the world's foremost authority on gambling, yet he was never a professional gambler, but he was giving gambling advice on how you can make money gambling. You don't even know. If you're not proven, if you were never a professional gambler making your living, then you have no business giving advice. Even the cheating, if you're not a cheat, you got no business giving advice on cheating. That's why he came up with the ridiculous Scarne cut. Any seasoned gambler would know instantly that's a useless move against collusion, mark cards, and against if I have a partner. But you're making all the suckers feel real safe. Oh, they used a Scarne cut. And that was another thing. He had a giant ego. He named everything Scarne. The riffle test to check for a mark, they called it the Scarne test, the Scarne riffle test. Everything became Scarne. How the shoe got developed? According to Scarne, it was his idea. Because one of the things cheating gamblers do is, or they work with the dealer. So it's a dealer agent scam where they're defrauding the house, and the dealer will flash cards at his partner. So the partner knows whether to take the card or not take the card. So Scarne came up with, let's deal out of a shoe, then they can't pull this scam off, right? Well, if he did at all, we don't know, because he likes to lie. Because get this, after he issued his challenges and said that Thorpe couldn't beat the game of blackjack, or his system couldn't, Buddy changes his tune. When he's writing autobiographies years later, suddenly he invented card counting, showed it to Bugsy Siegel. And he even tells his method that he take 16 black chips, because it's one deck. They would represent the tens, and maybe four green chips to represent the aces. And you take it off his stack as he's counting. The aces come out and the tens come out, so he could instantly look at his chip stacks and know, the composition of the deck remaining. In his books, he starts telling fairy tales, like he'd memorized the entire deck. If there was 6 cards left, he'd tell you the last 6. Like he could even name the suits if he wanted to. This guy's so good. It's all made up, just like his ace cutting. It's all made up. Never happened. And so he would give the wrong advice. Here's another comparison of John Scarne to Christopher Mitchell. Christopher Mitchell always says documentation beats conversation. So Scarne, the pathological liar that he is, just like Christopher, said that he rolled dice, I think it was 15 million times. You know how long that would take? Take lifetimes. He rolled it 15 million times and meticulously recorded all the results. And he got the results really close to what they should have actually been, like within a number or two, which is complete ridiculousness. You see, the thing is, the frequency distribution that should occur, if it is one of the most unlikely outcomes possible. It's the same thing, a close approximation of what should happen is the same thing as a huge deviation from what should happen. So it's obvious he lied about it, And that's another thing. These gambling gurus tell you they take the luck out of baccarat. They made their living room a baccarat laboratory, buddy. And they want there's luck in gambling. But if you use the binomial distribution, and outcome A is 50%, outcome B is 50%, and you do 100 trials, okay? The outcome of 50 heads, or not 50 heads, 50 times A occurring and 50 times B occurring only happens 8% of the time. 92% of the time, one side is ahead. That's the most common result. One side will be ahead, even though it's an even game. But you're not even playing even games. Baccarat is not an even game. Roulette is not an even game. You're taking a disadvantage. You cannot make a living at these games. Very difficult. Baccarat, some of the side bets, but it's a huge variation. Okay, so you can easily go broke if you're not bankrolled properly. And at the end of the day, you're not making any kind of significant money. I mean, $15, $20, $30 an hour, whatever it is. I mean, you can work jobs and get this kind of money. So it's just crazy. But that's the way gambling is. So you should, at the bottom line is, you should stay away from these gambling gurus. But another reason I'm disparaging Scarne is because in his books, he kept taking shots at Ed Thorpe. And as time goes by, he looks ridiculous. I don't know if you know what Ed Thorpe is. Besides being a genius, a true genius in terms of IQ level and being a PhD and MIT professor, the guy conquered not only blackjack, the man conquered roulette, the man conquered the stock market, you understand? This guy today is worth, I think, $800 million. He might even be a billionaire right now. That's how much money this guy. But he was not money oriented. He was inner driven, okay? He's total opposite of Christopher Mitchell. So a guy not even trying to acquire wealth, it just happens. That's the same thing with gambling. You're only trying to make the correct decision. And the first thing you do is you play a game where you have an edge. You don't have an edge, you don't play. You understand? And so when you're playing poker, you may or may not have an edge depending on who you are. But if you have an edge, your goal is to make correct decisions. And then everything falls into place. The money just rolls in. You understand? That's what gambling is. So here's an example of how Scarne disparaged Thorpe. So when Thorpe, prior to publishing the book Beat the Dealer, wanted to test his system, he was looking for backers, and he called them in the book Mr. X and Mr. Y. Okay, Scarne says he knows who Mr. X and Mr. Y are. He said they were a couple of sharp gamblers that went down to Costa Rica, beat the casino for thousands. And then he points out that these guys got accused for marking the cards, only they didn't mark the cards. So they were going to be charged, but then they weren't. But Scarne asked them point blank, how did you do it down in Costa Rica? And Mr. X and Mr. Y said, well, Scarne, we bribed the dealer. So the dealer would flash hole cards, basically. Or if they manually checked for the blackjack, they would tip what the hole card was. And that's how they beat the casino. So he's already disparaging Thorpe's partners. But by the way, Thorpe 20 years later said, they were shady. It took him 20 years to figure it out. But in the book, and then Scarne said, Mr. X and Mr. Y, when they went to do the trial run with Thorpe, they beat the house. Thorpe was losing with his system, and that they beat the house. So he's still disparaging the guy's system. I mean, he looks like a bloody fool as history goes by. But that's just my opinion. And that's why I know magicians don't like it when I disparage Scarne. I couldn't care less. He was a great card manipulator, but I am a gambler. I'm not a card trickster, you understand? I gamble. That's what I do. I can't have the bad advice. So you stay away from the Scarnes of the world. You stay away from the Christopher Mitchells.